Hi again, Mojo Dallas here. Talk about the latest software sprint for the game Poser's Unreal Portal. This is version 1.2. So talk about all the new features I've added the last couple of weeks. First of all, I can see it's a lot bigger screen. I'm running it now at 1920 by 1080 in terms of the game size, so it takes the whole monitor up as you play. The other thing is to notice so all that more screen space, I went ahead and changed the Poser inventory here now to hold 16 different items per page instead of 8. The other thing that's interesting about it is it also, this inventory for things like poses, materials, wearable props, and so on, only brings back what is relevant to the character that you're playing. So if I look at the Ryan character, the cargo shorts character, and look at poses, you'll see a whole bunch of poses. But if I went ahead and changed them to something like, Rex here, and went to poses, Rex has only got one pose. The other things we'll see is I added a bunch of options at the top. The first one is snapshot. So let's go ahead and walk him over here. Maybe get a nice picture of Ryan here. Take a snapshot, and what that does is it takes a picture and stores that picture over in a directory, and here it is, as you can see. Here's a picture I just took of Ryan. So I've got snapshots working. I also have movies working. Now, movies is an interesting thing. There's no native movie function on Unreal Engine that I can go ahead and utilize. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and decided how I'm going to implement it. If you click on the movie button, what it'll do is just send you to a link that's a tutorial I've done talking about how to use a piece of software called Open Broadcasting software, which is the kind of the standard software used in making games and a lot of tutorials. And because of this, this is a more general way, and it only takes a couple of minutes to set up to be able to use in the game. So I'll go ahead and show you that here. Here's the Open Broadcaster software. All you do is, once you've got it set up, is click Start Recording, and of course it'll record. So if I go back to the game here, I'll go walk around, big deal. But again, if I go look at the Open Broadcast software, it will record all that, and I'll go ahead and just stop it now. And I can go ahead and look at it and see it. If I go look at up here in the file section, say open the recordings folder, and I can go ahead and record. So the point is here, it's a piece of software that added, and I can go ahead and take moves. But again, also it's a very powerful piece of software, and you can actually, this is what's used to stream games. So you can actually share this with other people if you want to go ahead and stream your experience inside of the game live. The other options I've added is something called wearable props. And if we look at wearable props, let's go ahead and switch to my Ryan tunic figure, which is one that a little more reasonable for the prop I'm using, which is the wearable prop I have is, let's say, this Persian sword. And you'll see it goes ahead and adds a sword, and this is set up to add the sword right next to the character's hand, which doesn't look very natural there in his T-pose. But if I go ahead and apply a pose like the sword fight, you'll see that the sword really is attached now to his hand, and he's fighting and looks fairly normal as you'd expect it to look. That's wearable props. We'll go back to Ryan Cargo. Of course, the prop's still there, but not the player. The this was done using something called sockets inside of the skeleton, which you can go ahead and attach at various points of the body of the character you're running. And there'll be a tutorial up to be able to see that posted when I go ahead and get ready to release the game. Let's look at some prop positioning. Just speaking of props, let's go ahead and load our chair here. And I don't know if you remember, but it was very difficult to locate him before or move him around the chair, because you kind of have to guess where it would go, and then you click apply transform. Well, I've changed this now so it's real time. You can move him back and forth real time by just moving the slider switch, rotate him, and so on. So those are the changes I made to make it easier to go ahead and place props, move props. The other things kind of like props is I've added my first version of non-playable characters. So if I go ahead and go in here and click, and it's almost like a prop. I add Ryan. There's a different version of Ryan, and maybe step away from him a little bit. But doing the robot. And again, you can click on him and you can move him around if you want, just like you moved a prop. You can rotate him, so on. You can go ahead and change if there's another animation for him. You can change animations, and so on. So it's a non-playable character. So it's really just a figure or a character that you aren't controlling, because you see I'm still controlling this guy instead. The other things I've added are some camera improvements. I talked about the cameras before. I think the most important thing here is now with cameras is I've got really free camera working a lot better. And if I look at adding a free camera, you'll see it. I add it there. I can say move him around a little bit. Let's just move him off to the side. Let's add another free camera. And if you right click on them, you should be able to right click on them. No, you can't right click on a camera. I'm sorry. That's the other thing I did, is I had to manage free cameras, and if you manage free cameras, a camera manager comes up, and I'll go ahead and click on camera 1, and it takes you to camera 1, where we place right next to him, and I can move him again. But I can also switch to camera 1 and see the view, or switch back. So go ahead and switch back to our character's camera. So you could go ahead and set up the cameras at a number of different places and switch around during gameplay to have different perspectives of things. Camera improvements, those are the camera improvements I had. A quick clothing POC. I wanted to try clothing. So if I go ahead and bring in this character's slightly different version of the character I had before, and if I go into materials, it shows lime shirt. And this just shows a UV map that's a picture. I'll change that to a picture of probably with his shirt, different color shirt. If you click on it, it'll change the color of his shirt. So it gives you the ability to go ahead and apply different textures to clothing using this technique. The last thing is if we go ahead and walk over here, is I added a number of different options here. Let's go ahead and talk about light handles first. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and go add a couple lights. I'm going to add a point light, and they'll be over here, and walk a little this way and add a spotlight. And so those lights are, and there's lights are here showing here, but when you're taking pictures, maybe you don't want those lights. And so light handles gives you the option of clicking off of it and turning off the lights themselves, so you don't see the light, the props associated with the lights, or turning them back on if you want to move them. Sorry about the break here. I'm using a piece of software still to record this called BandyCan, but what's happened is it only allows me to record 10 minutes at a time since it's a free version. So I went past my 10 minutes in the last video. So I've gone ahead and created the second video, and I've spliced them together using another piece of software. If we go ahead and look at it, some of the options here, again, we were looking at, I have time of day, and on time of day, what it does is it allows you to go ahead and change it to a different time of day, and it'll change different things in the environment, like the sun, and how you perceive things. So if I say 2 o'clock, it'll change it to night. It's changed it to night. I can go ahead and, still walk around here. A little bit dark. You can see the stars up there. I'll change it back to the day. So on. Cloud cover. If we look up here, you got a little bit of cloud cover. I can go ahead and make it bigger. More clouds, or less clouds, or just some clouds. The wind, and wind is an interesting thing. I've gone ahead and added some things now. If we go ahead and look at, let's go ahead and add a prop. Wind is associated with different props, so you have to really set up your prop to be able to so it knows, so it can react to the wind. And I have, again, some tutorials I'll make on that, how you make that work. So I'm going to go ahead and place a palm tree here, and you'll see the palm tree moving in the wind. With the wind, the global wind setting that you set from here, the leaves moving here. So I can go ahead and make it breezier, and you'll see that it moved more. So that's wind. The other thing I did is I added rain. So if I click on rain, it gets dark and it starts raining. So that's rain. And I only have one version of the rain now, but I'll go ahead and add later before I release the game. The drizzle, the downpour, a number of different kinds of rain effects. And probably add snow and fog as well. But that's where I am right now. So that kind of does it for the different features I've added to the game. This last 2 weeks has been productive, and hope to see you in another couple weeks. So thanks for watching.